It's time to find out the scary things that come from the sea as we delve deep into Volo's guide to look at the sea spawn. Well, if you're following along at home in your Volo's Guide to Monsters, we're on page 189 to take a look at the sea spawn. You might be thinking, man, Bill's been doing a lot of things with oceans recently. Yes, I have a little bit of OCD recently with ocean adventures and pirates and island hopping, so that's kind of the thing that's happening. The sea spawn are a really good variation on just a good monster to throw into the mix. Like if you've been using typical skeletons and zombies and you know, bad guys that are kind of lower level, Sahuagin, Kuatoa, all those, this is kind of another variation that will work in your subterranean flooded caves or dungeon, or along the mysterious coast of the island, or near the shipwreck of Captain Zabadaba, whatever. But they're kind of cool. So let me go into the lore first, and then we'll chat about that. Many of the stories sung as sea shanties and passed on as tales in dockside taverns tell of people lost to the sea, but not merely drowned and gone. These unfortunates are taken by the ocean and live on as sea spawn, haunting the waves like tortured reflections of their former selves. Coral encrusts them, barnacles cling to their cold skin, lungs that once filled with air can now breathe in water as well. Tales provide myriad reasons for these strange transformations. Be wary of falling in love with a sea elf or merfolk, some say. Return to port before a storm, no matter how tempting the catch. Honor the sea gods as they demand, but never promise them your heart. Such cautionary tales disguise the deeper truth. Things lurk beneath the waves that strive to claim the hearts and minds of land dwellers. Krakens, morkoths, sea hags, marids, storm giants, dragon turtles. All of these sea creatures and more can mark mortals as their own and claim them as minions. Such people might become beholden to their master through a bleak bargain, or they might find themselves cursed by such creatures. Once warped into a fish-like form, the person can't leave the sea for long without courting death. Sea spawn come in a wide variety of forms, as individual might have a tentacle for an arm, the jaws of a shark, a sea urchin's spines, a whale's fin, octopus eyes, seaweed hair, or any combination of such qualities. Some sea spawn have piscine body parts that provide them with special abilities beyond those of an ordinary humanoid. When we look at this, immediately what came to my mind are the guys that are on board the ship with Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Those sailors who basically are cursed and they have, you know, shells and half of them are oceanic-like. Like that's exactly what this is describing. What I like about that is that you could put your own spin on this. You could have them simply, you know, appear as humans, but with, you know, barnacles and coral growing on their skin. Almost like a water-drenched, you know, sea zombie kind of thing. But you could also mix in those features like they indicated, where like maybe one of their arms has like a pincher, or, you know, it's an octopus arm vibe. So you can actually customize the sea spawn to kind of fit more closely with your campaign. Now, speaking of customized, they actually included in the book a little blurb about the sea spawn of purple rocks. So if you specifically wanted to use some of the lore created for Forgotten Realms, you can integrate that. Visitors to a string of islands called the Purple Rocks in the Forgotten Realms might notice one curious fact about the island's human inhabitants. No infants or elderly are among them. This is because babies born to the Rocklanders are cast into the sea and claimed by a kraken named Slarkwithel. The experience transforms the children into fanatics dedicated to the kraken. They return from the sea as humans, but when they reach old age, they transform into sea spawn and rejoin their master in the dark depths. Some children return having suffered partial transformations, leaving them semi-bestial until their full transformation when they reach old age. These wretches are hidden until the final change to keep the secret of the Purple Rocks. Kraken Priests are the tenders of the Kraken's flock. Most of the priests are island natives, but some are merfolk, marrow, or sea elves that live in the water. Again, a lot of opportunity to kind of integrate these and make them interesting. Let's take a look at their stats, and then we can think about how to use them. AC of 11, speed of 20 feet on land, or a 30-foot swim speed. Dark vision of 120 feet. They understand Aquan and Common, but can't speak. And they're considered a challenge rating 1, so very versatile in terms of how you can use them, even at low levels. They have limited amphibiousness. The sea spawn can breathe air and water, but need to be submerged in the sea at least once a day for 1 minute to avoid suffocating. They have a multi-attack, 2 unarmed attacks, and 1 with its Piscine anatomy. The unarmed strike is a +4 to hit with a reach of 5 feet, and it's 1d4 plus 2 bludgeoning damage. The Piscine anatomy options that they include here are pretty cool. Bite attack is a +5 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1d4 plus 2 piercing damage. Poison quills is a +5 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1 creature, 1d6 poison damage, and the target must make a DC 12 con save or be poisoned for 1 minute. The target can repeat the save at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. And lastly, the Tentacle, a +5 to hit, reach of 10 feet, 1d6 plus 2 bludgeoning damage, and the target is grappled. To escape, it's a DC 12. Until the grapple ends, the sea spawn can't use this tentacle on another target. So they are not particularly powerful, which is great. I mean, they're naturally geared towards some cool low-level adventures. And you could have a whole recurring setting where these things are. You can even have them growing and expanding their empires so that they are recurring encounters and characters. But best of all, you can scale them up. Boy, can you ever scale them up. So geared for low-level encounters, you could take any number of island, pirate ship adventures, coastal things, port city. Maybe you're in Waterdeep and you're a low-level adventuring party in Waterdeep and they're down by the docks and the docks become overrun with this invasion of sea spawn, right? And the laborers and the peasants and stuff flee for their lives and the party has to fight off this preliminary scouting party of sea spawn that are attacking the very docks of Waterdeep or any other port city, right? But it's a great way for any like low level, like 1st through 5. You could throw, a few of these, or you could throw a whole boatload of them, literally, at your party. But here's what I like. These are super easy to scale up for mid-level, right? And you can integrate into your storyline anything. It could be something like a Kraken cult, for example, or you can invent your own world components that you have in your setting that makes sense for you. But whatever it is, you create a mid-level version of the sea spawn, right? And you could call them greater sea spawn. How about that? How do you do that, Bill? Well, you bump up their AC. Instead of 11, you make it 15. You give them like 30 more hit points. And maybe you give them more attacks with more Piscine anatomy features. And maybe those attacks might include the ability to grapple with 2 tentacles, right? Or maybe you give them a higher swim speed if you're in an ocean environment and they're attacking a ship and somebody goes overboard and now they're being chased by one of these half-shark sea spawn creatures. And you could kind of customize even with that, even within your mid-level. You can make 3 or 4 of them kind of more shark-oriented with the ability to kind of ram and bite. And then you can make 3 or 4 of them more like squid or octopus-oriented, where they have multiple grappling capabilities. You can make multiple 3 or 4 of them maybe have more crab-like features, or lobster-like features, where they have multiple claw attacks and a higher AC because they have this hard carapace. I think what's so cool about this is that it's extremely versatile. Now you might be like, Bill, all right, totally buying into this low-level or mid-level, scaling for these guys, but there's no way that these would work at high level. Yes, they would. Ready? Spellcasting sea spawn. Yeah. Were you expecting that? Probably not. But that's my jam. Spellcasting sea spawn. This goes back to this idea of them somehow being cursed. Somehow these were normal people once who magically have been transformed. Well, if they were magically cursed, what's to stop whoever their evil benefactor is from bestowing magical ability upon them? In the same fashion, right, that a warlock has a patron, imagine if you had a sea spawn and you called it the Elder Sea Spawn. Imagine adapting, like Eldritch Blast. You reskin Eldritch Blast, and the sea spawn now effectively has Eldritch Blast. At higher levels, that could be 3 Eldritch Blasts per round. It could also have things like Arms of Hadar, where it can reach out with tentacles, but you kind of reskin a lot of those warlock features to fit with the sea spawn. You could have a blast creating a big bad end guy who's the high priest of the Kraken, who has spellcasting capabilities, who has higher armor, who has minions who are greater sea spawn to defend that person. Yes, add it, do it. I want somebody to make the Elder Sea Spawn and use it in their campaign. Either that or I'm going to do it. But one way or the other, despite the fact that these are challenge rating 1, I could see a lot of ongoing campaign potential for how to use Sea Spawn and integrate it into an ongoing campaign and scale it up to use the greater Sea Spawn. And ultimately, the higher level, you can have a whole cult of Elder Sea Spawns who are spellcasting Sea Spawn, right? They have some fun with elemental summoning too. Maybe at the higher level, the Elder Sea Spawn have some kind of elemental summoning and control, so they could bring water elementals to do their bidding. Yes, yes. Feel the cult-like power flowing through you. All right, that's my weird ideas with the Sea Spawn. I hope it's been entertaining and informative. And as always, if you have any experience encountering these or your own ideas and variations, please share them in the comments below because I love to read them and so does everybody else. Until we see each other again, this has been me wearing Carafa's leather jacket. Peace out, everybody.
Well, hello, it's me, Wizzy. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. And then don't forget to tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and crafting videos and DM tips and pro tips for vlogging and all sorts of gaming things. And also you could watch Bill eat food and watch other shows featuring Bill. He made me say that because he's a narcissist. Okay, bye.